This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 13th day of March in the year 2018. Here's what we're tracking this evening. Recently retired Commissioner of Police Silal Prasad took the witness stand at the Lindo Creek Commission of Inquiry hearing this morning, testifying that he supported the advice from the Director of Public Prosecutions for the police to close the investigation into the murder of the 8 miners and not proceed with further action. Although the advice from the DPP came many months after the shooting and burning of the 8 miners at Lindo Creek in June of 2008, Mr. Prasad, who was crime chief at the time, said he was comfortable with the advice. Prasad said he was not surprised that the DPP had given that advice since the police had already established that it was a notorious fine-man gang that had committed a heinous act. But Commissioner of the Lindo Creek Commission of Inquiry, Justice Donald Trotman, said he remained surprised that such advice was given and accepted by the police. The advice never urged the police to conduct an inquest or proceed with prosecution, although one member of the gang was still alive.
The DPP's advice that an investigation be closed is interpreted to mean it has been the practice over the years that no further action should be taken.
Action meaning what?
Police action, meaning that that file is filed away unless there is new information suggesting that there is evidence that were not collected that may result in a different opinion.
Were you surprised that the DPP advised the file be closed?
No, sir.
You were not surprised?
No, sir.
I am very surprised.
The former top cop told the commission that when the advice was given, the perpetrators had all already been killed, with the exception of one man who was cooperating with the police. He said he never supervised the investigation until the final months, telling the Commission of Inquiry that the evidence collected would have shown with some amount of certainty who was responsible for the killing of the miners. He also told the commission that an inquest would have only been necessary if there was uncertainty as to who was responsible for the killing. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to visit Guyana later this year. That announcement came last evening from the Ministry of the Presidency. President David Granger met with the Indian Prime Minister over the weekend in New Delhi, and the two had extensive discussions on cooperation and improving bilateral relations. During the meeting, the two leaders reviewed the scale of Guyana-India relations and agreed to continue discussions when the Prime Minister visits Guyana later this year. President Granger also used the opportunity to update his Indian counterpart on the developments regarding the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy and expressed his appreciation for India's support for Guyana on this matter, for which a final resolution will be sought at the International Court of Justice. A Guyanese man who traveled to New York recently carried a little secret under his wing. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers and agriculture specialists at the JFK Airport in New York made an unusual discovery on the 3rd of March after inspecting the luggage of a Guyanese national who had just arrived from a flight from Georgetown. The officials conducted an examination of the man's carry-on luggage and discovered 20 live whistling birds held in hair curlers. All 20 birds were seized and put in a quarantine while the traveler was issued a $300 fine and refused entry into the United States. And finally this evening, with a smile on his face, local social media star Leon Clark, also known as Teardrop, walked out of the magistrate's court this morning a free man after being freed of a $1 million robbery charge. The 23-year-old man, who shot to fame by attempting to sing, had been granted $75,000 bail when he first appeared in court last year. His trial started recently, and the magistrate upheld a no-case submission that was put forward by his attorney, Keoma Griffith. During the trial, the witnesses provided by the prosecution were all discredited, and several others never bothered to turn up in court. It was back in September of last year that it was alleged that a young singer broke into a house and carted off over $1 million in valuables. In a statement to the court during his first appearance, Teardrop made it clear that he was not part of any robbery, and there was nothing connecting him to the crime. He said he believed he was targeted. With the charge now behind him, Teardrop intends to drop several new songs that might leave his listeners in tears of their own. That's your evening news bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting for News Source.